And good morning. I almost let time get away from us there. Good morning. How are you? I'm your friend Scotty Ray. I do hope you're feeling well. Maybe no yawns this morning. We're ready for it. It's Tuesday. What do you got to face? A lot of fog. Let's go to radar as we look at this morning. As Doc's Toyota radar indicates a lot to our west, south, and southwest. Now, again, we probably have fog in Lauderdale County as well as we zoom a little bit closer to this. Most of this activity, the thicker fog in the area of East Mississippi is going to be south of I-20 as we show Newton if you're going to be traveling Highway 15 there at the county line, or if you're coming out of Hickory this morning there on Highway 503. Look at that intersection of 504. It's a lot of fog there as we move a little bit to the east there and look at Quitman, that eastern side of Clark County covered in fog, and this will drift northeasterly through Lisbon, Alabama, Butler. Look at all of this east of Livingston around Bologee. Now, some of the worst that we got in the state as we back out and look at this. Look at all of this up around North Mississippi as we do have a dense fog advisory in effect this morning north of West Point, Amory, Tupelo, Pontotoc, even up at Oxford, a lot there. Out to our west there at Clarksdale, in the Mississippi Delta, thick fog as well. Now again, East Mississippi's got their share, but not quite as bad as we've got it in northern Mississippi. So be careful in those areas there. And if you look at this, Murfreesboro, Nashville, now let's be honest about it, they've got a little bit more to contend with than we do with the traffic there. What are they up to, 9, 10 lanes of traffic in one way? Pretty rough there. 1 million people all wanted to gather in the same little place at one time. Housing has gone up. They all went there. Be careful. It's a lot of people is the point around the Murfreesboro, Nashville area this morning. So we're watching all of that for you as we begin our Tuesday. Hope you're feeling fine. Let's go get our good word for the day. Let's head on out to Collinsville. We'll be right back.
Have you ever worked on something for years and years? Perhaps it pertains to your job, like a salesman, honing in his craft to sell his products, or maybe it deals with sports like a soccer player, always working on their footwork and their conditioning to be the best that she can be. Or the ever-experienced grill master who's always trying and tinkering with new recipes to produce the tastiest dish that they can. There are some aspects of life that we never really truly arrive because, we're not perfect. And if you're in Christ, we'll walk with and work on our relationship with Jesus until He returns. We won't ever fully arrive or be perfect, which is why we need Jesus in the first place. Yes, the Bible teaches once saved and always saved. It teaches once forgiven and always forgiven. But we still have to run to the Father every day because until He calls us home, we battle this thing called flesh and sin that goes along with it. So how do we do this? Well, Philippians 2 has a good word for us. Verse 12 says, work out your own salvation. Now notice it doesn't say work for your own salvation, but work out. There are no days off in the faith. We choose to follow Jesus once and for all, but that also includes following Him every day. And kind of let you in on a little secret. There are days I don't want to follow Jesus. Yeah, even as a pastor, there are days where I just want to take a break from it. But we don't let what we feel determine what we know. And that is to work out and work on our relationship with Jesus every single day. We're to do this, as the text says, with fear and trembling. This text does not mean that we walk around waiting on God to send down a lightning bolt like He's the mythological little g god Zeus. But we do live our life with reverent respect and holy fear of a God who has the power to do whatever He wants and yet chooses to still love us. This is important to recognize because the power to live out the Christian faith, y'all, it doesn't come from us. It comes from Him. Verse 13 continues, for it is God who is working in you both to will and to work. The power of the Holy Spirit inside you, if you have given your life to Christ, pushes and propels you and I to holy living. That's why we must look to the Lord in working out our salvation. This is, as it says in the text, according to His good purpose, or as a lot of translations say it, according to His good pleasure. The working out of your salvation, the purpose of the Holy Spirit working in your life, is according to the sovereign, good, pleasure, and purpose of God's will. There's a lot of hope in that statement. So, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, don't quit. Don't give up. Remember the Lord's working, and in that, continue to work out your salvation in the peace and joy of the God who already bought your price. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back. I did make a mistake this morning. I forgot to update the title, so if it says the 9th, it's actually the 10th. We'll correct that in just a moment as we get this day underway. Florida. I think we're all familiar with this. What do you do when there's a complaint against an employee? We're going to wait and see because she's got to get out of jail first. Florida A&M athletic director has been accused. She turned herself in after her former employee says she stole $24,000 worth of merchandise. And what I mean by that is by using her company credit card where she worked to purchase personal items, such as, well, I'm at the casino, I need a little money, and then tried to write it up as an expense. It's not working. We'll see what happens with this. Scuggs is her name. Angela Scuggs is accused of stealing from Florida Sports Foundation while she was CEO. We'll see where this goes. Pretty serious crime. Let's see here. We mentioned this yesterday. Colombia, the country there, one of the people that were running for president was shot in critical condition. It was a strike to the head. Has not passed away, but in critical shape there. That was one of the big stories that happened yesterday there. Colts, as we get into this, NFL. Looks like the next owners, the owner that passed away, it's been left to his daughters, all three of them. I think that's the first time in the NFL that they've had female owners. And spread out equally, and each of them have a job now. Florida, 3 decades ago, 30 years ago is where we go back to 1994. A 23-year-old mother of 2 was killed in Lake City, Florida. They're now getting around to executing the man who did that, coming up very shortly. Lethal injection. It should happen today. We'll keep you up to date on this. Sometimes a stay of execution comes at the last moment. We'll let you know how that comes about. But again, remembering what he done, 1994, killed a mother, had 2 children. It's a long time ago, wasn't it? We'll keep you updated as that story comes about today. Let's see here. What happens when you miss an airplane, your flight? Well, normally, most Americans would either rent a car or, well, book the next flight. Except for this guy from Michigan. He called in and made a threat to the airlines. And you know what type threat that I'm talking about. It didn't go over too well. He was arrested immediately. 23-year-old John Charles Robinson of Monroe, Michigan, now in jail. They don't take that very lightly. It's a serious crime to do something as that, even as if you were making it to a building. Same thing. It's not good. The 3 little girls that were murdered by their father, do you know who I'm talking about? This has been ongoing for weeks now. Washington State is where that happened. The feds are now taking over the investigation as local law enforcement and state officials have been working on. It's become a federal matter at this point. The feds will be taking over, looking for him. How on earth could it ever happen? When you don't understand something, I guess it's best to admit it. I know what AI is, artificial intelligence. I just don't know the extent of how it can be used. Here's an example of this, of why I don't quite understand, but boy, there are people out there who do, and, well, there are people who don't want to work. Scammers using AI to enroll fake students in online classes to steal financial aid for those who need it, from those who need it, rather. It's a little far-fetched, isn't it? But they're doing it. Artificial intelligence. For something that was created to do so good for people, people are taking it to use it in bad ways. Thought you ought to know that. We have another person arrested, another Chinese researcher accused of smuggling biological material into the United States. A second person that's been arrested. What really goes on? That worries me. What are they up to? That's 2. Who have we missed? We've got rioters in Austin, Texas. What are they doing? Well, they just started going in businesses, stealing things and piling it up in the street, rioting. Get a job. Tom Homan, you know what I'm talking about? He's the border czar for the U.S. All of this that is going on in L.A., as he points out, had nothing to do initially with what was going on with the illegal immigrants. As he gets into this, he talks about it being an investigation into laundering. It had nothing to do with it. His exact words revealed that the raids that sparked the violent L.A. riots were not for immigration purposes that took place in downtown Los Angeles. They were part of a criminal investigation into money laundering scheme is how it all began. And then it expanded from there to where this is where we are now. Mexico. She is condemning the violence in the L.A. protest. What else do we have? This just really shows the state of where we are, to where the governor of California is trying to sue the federal government for helping stop violence in their state. Now, let me repeat that. The governor of California, his name is Newsom, is suing the Trump administration over the National Guard coming in to help with riots, to where they're stealing, burning, and tearing apart California. Let that sink in. Why? Because he'll probably run for president one day. You need to know what type person that is. As I say that in the same voice, another man says, moving forward, Newsom will never be taken as a serious candidate for any office outside of California at this point. Is he right? I don't know. 700 Marines on top of the National Guard have been deployed to these LA riots. Now, I don't know. This is well worth watching. This is on Twitter. If you get a chance to go back and watch this. This is Trump. And he's explaining what these rioters do, and the best way he described it is they're throwing, it sounded as something disgusting, but they're spitting in the faces of troops, our military and our police. And he says, if you do that, we will take you down. He's very point blank. If you spit on our police, that gives them a right to take you down. But look that up. It's there. Easy to listen to with him explaining it. Now, I'm not sure if you remember the guy. We showed a picture of him throwing the fire over the top at cops yesterday, as the cops were trapped underneath the bridge there. They were in the car. They couldn't get out. They were throwing bricks and everything else at him. They've identified him, and they are on the manhunt. Fox News, let me show you this of what he looks like. This is the guy. This is what he looked like as he was doing this from Fox News. He was throwing this over the bridge. And then here's who he actually is there. Bill, and I'm going to probably say that wrong, El Peno Reina has been identified as a suspect who threw rocks at federal officers. It was all caught on film of him doing the crimes. They are looking for him. An arrest is expected pretty quickly there from the Department of Justice. That stuff is crazy. Have you watched any of it? I watched a little bit of Hannity. It's chaos, to say the least, of what's going on there. Now, has your mouth overloaded you ever? I think this is a perfect case to where we had a Minnesota lawmaker who is a Democrat basically complaining that Trump was, trying to deport people who didn't believe here, that shouldn't be here. And she goes, well, I'm an illegal immigrant. My whole family is an illegal immigrant. 2 hours later, she starts going, well, wait a minute, maybe I am a citizen. Let's back up and think about this. If you run for office in Minnesota, do they not check to make sure where you're at? If this is so, this will throw the balance of power off in the state of Minnesota and give control to the Republicans. If this is true, it was razor thin. And again, this is the early stages of this, but she sure come out and said that she was here illegal and everybody in her family illegal and they were not citizens. She's trying to backtrack that or walk it back now. We shall see. RFK, in a sweeping move yesterday, removed all 17 members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee. He says it wasn't fair. They were all piled in there during that last year of Biden's administration, and he said he wants to be very clear and it be an honest board. So he cleaned them all out, and they're starting over. Y'all ain't gonna believe this, but going back to the outbreak of the jailbreak that happened in New Orleans, y'all remember that? Were 11 prisoners? Yeah, inside job. As a girlfriend who worked as a correctional officer helped someone escape. Fox, they've arrested her. Here's the mugshot as we go to Fox News. That's her on the left, and that's her boyfriend who was detained in jail there. She now gets to join him. I'm not sure if it's a co-ed jail or anything like that, but she will be behind bars, and I guess they can make their phone call once a week to each other. Isn't that how that works? My, oh my. I guess it goes back to like over in Alabama, the love sick where she broke him out of jail and they were on the run. What was that girl's name? Was it White? White. Yeah, that was the name of it. Where she worked at the jail and fell in love with him. My oh my. Do y'all remember the Milwaukee judge who helped the illegal alien escape from the courthouse? She is not immune to being prosecuted for criminal activity. She's probably going to jail. Depends upon how big of an attorney you get, I guess, and what judge she faces. But she could be facing major jail time. We have 2 people that have been charged in the Las Vegas Strip shooting. 2 people. He's been charged for killing 2 people. Oh my gosh, that's awful. And again, we brought back up the Jason Aldean concert that happened some few years ago, to where we had that shooting that happened in Las Vegas. Happens again of 2 people being killed by a lone gunman. Austria. We had a shooting yesterday at a school, as we just stay on the pack of bad things that happened. Several people were killed there. That's the second biggest incident they've ever happened in Austria. We had some Japanese soldiers that were injured there as they had an explosion at their air base yesterday in Japan. 4 of those have been taken to a hospital. It was huge. I watched it. Let's see what else we've got going on this morning before we get deep into this weather forecast. Oh, more pictures of that. Let's see what else. Greta is not going to make it. She's in denial there about refused to enter. I don't know if you've watched any of this on that little boat. Oh my. We'll get into your forecast next as this morning gets underway. Big show coming up as we get ready for a Tuesday morning. We'll fix that date that I made wrong here just a moment ago. All that's up and coming this morning.
Hi, this is Nick at Doc's Toyota, and we are excited to put you in a new Toyota today. We have no dealer markup, no hidden fees, no hassle, and our inventory is always priced to move. Our top-notch sales department and first-class service after the sale guarantees you a fast and comfortable buying experience like you've never had. So come see why month after month, more and more customers have chose to buy from Doc's Toyota. So come see us here at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia, at docstoyota.com or on Facebook. And remember, there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
For over 40 years, you've been able to count on Watt Equipment in DeKalb, Mississippi. They've got your Massey Ferguson's brand new 23 up to 135 horse cab and air tractors. They've got all your hay equipment needs, all your bush hogs. If your tractor needs it, they got it. Also remember, they service all makes and models, whether it's green, orange, blue, red, or yellow. They can get your parts in, they can do your service on your equipment. Don't forget Watt Equipment, DeKalb, Mississippi.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
Our record highs and record lows. It was 1977. We had a high of 100 today. That was hot, wasn't it? We were about 7 or 8 years old when that all went down. Back in 1980, it was a cool 53 this morning. As we look at the forecast for today, we'll hit 89 across the Meridian area, 88 in Philadelphia. Even Columbus Air Force Base should see 88. As we move east into Bama, we'll see that Demopolis has 87. Montgomery about the same as well, 85 in Birmingham. As we look at those temperatures, we're above average in the state of Mississippi. Warm weather there. Florida a little hotter there. As we move to our 7-day forecast, we should see somewhere between 88 to 89 today. We'll see about the same tomorrow, but a 40% chance of rain both days. As we move into Thursday, rain chances increase all the way toward the weekend. 60, 60, and by Saturday we hit a 70% chance of rain, and by Sunday we're at 80% chance there. High is going to be anywhere from 90 to 91. Is what we look for. Now, let's move forward here and look at what happens all the way through the 24th. We're not getting away from that 90 to mid-90 degree temperatures with slight chances of rain each day all the way through the 24th. Y'all get ready. July will be here before we know it, and it'll be extremely hot by then. If you're headed out to the fishing hole this morning, Clarkdale Superette sends you by with some minnows and a whole lot more. As we'll see a calm wind today, around 5 miles an hour. Major times to fish will be 11:30 until 1:30 this afternoon. A minor time this afternoon, right at dusk dark, around 7:30 to 8:30 there. You can squeeze in a little bit of fishing right at dark. Now, sunrise happened this morning at 5:47. Sunset swoops in at 8:01 p.m. this afternoon. It's getting later and later. Kind of like that. What's happening out here in the Gulf of America? Nothing. That is what is good to report this morning. As we look, we expect nothing for the next 7 days when it comes to hurricanes. We like that. Now, let's go back to radar as we looked at this just a moment ago, as we do show fog around the area here, around Meridian West and South, all of these areas, especially Newton. You might not be able to see the interstate there. So be careful around Newton, whatever you're doing. Quitman, if you're traveling Highway 503, the further south you go and you get into these areas, whew, we got a lot of it down here. As you'll see here, even down here at Lake Edens, you can't hardly see the water. It's thick, thick, thick. Be careful no matter where you go. As always, we'll watch the weather as we get this day underway. We'll be back live in just a few moments. Julia is going to drop by, and she's brought somebody with her. And I don't know whether she's brought chains. What is this? Should I show this?
I don't know what it is.
Not yet, she says. Okay. We'll find out what she's up to. For a good cause.
I've been told that before.
You've been told that before? We'll be back in just a moment. The morning show gets underway at 8 a.m. Join us, won't you? It happens this morning with the Scotty Ray Report.